Good evening and welcome to tonight's podcast. Tonight I'm joined by Chris at CT Gaming from CT Gaming Zone, Stealth Slicer, we might have Slavic on later, and Ben from North Cinematics is using a new map on a game he's playing and he wants to get some footage, so he might be with us later. Tonight is going to be anything goes. It's an open mic night. We're going to talk about everything and anything. There's been a lot of news, tech news recently on the internet, so we're probably going to talk a lot about that. GTX cards, Intel, etc. So at the moment we have got Chris and we have got Stealth. Gentlemen, if you'd just like to introduce yourself, as we always do, we'll start with Chris from CT Gaming Zone.
Hello everyone, Chris back again on Restless Natives. Let's have some talks tonight, shall we?
And we've got Stealth.
Good evening, guys. You will miss me last week. I was unfortunately not able to make it, but I'm back this week and it's open night, so let's have some fun.
So, gentlemen, what do you think we should start with? Maybe it's the new GPUs. The 3000 series. Jesus, have you seen the size on those things?
It's I love it. Someone's going to clip that.
There's a lot of memes going on about it, like, I'm the motherboard.
I saw that, like, someone posted it up, and because I was on mobile, of course, I didn't quite get what it was initially. I was like, the fuck have you hybridized your motherboard to? I clicked it, I was like, oh shit.
No,
I shared it on to you guys, with Slavic, and Slavic was just like,
yeah, seeing that madness.
I was like, that's an actual pic of it, you nonsense.
I believe so. I know, yeah. It's not even a meme, it's real.
It's real, yeah. It's absolutely oh god, the internet's going to murder me for that. Yeah, it's absolutely gigantic, lads.
So what about the prices, boys? I mean, I was really shocked about the prices that are knocking about.
That card is like 90% made of aluminum, because all of that is just for the heat dissipation and stuff. So like the actual PCB itself is really small. So
do we actually have a confirmed price for the 30 series, 3 series, 2000 series, whatever the hell you want to call it?
Well, there's a lot of prices knocking about. They're even saying the 3090 is going to be $699. That's madness.
Yeah, I don't see
that's fake, because I watched the presentation. So the 3090 will be $1,500.
Wow,
that's much more agreeable.
Yeah, you can believe that.
Yeah,
3080 will settle for about $700, and 4070 I think it's $600. So
right, okay.
To be honest, I just want to mention this actually. I think what we're seeing here right now is a lot of pretty creative marketing. I mean, think about it. It wasn't that long ago when we got the 2 series, the 2000 series, 20 series, whatever you want to call it, and then suddenly the 30 series or 3 series, whatever I'm just going to call it. I'll probably vary quite a lot, lads. And then that came out very, very quickly afterwards. But something you need to ask yourself before anyone goes out and says, I need to get this, I need to get that, I need to get that, is, do you actually need it, or do you actually require it? So, for example, my setup, I've got the old and trusty GTX 1080 Ti. It runs like an absolute beast. I can get consistently over 100 frames, 4K on
whatever you play.
Yeah, and we know Insurgency's a piece of shit on
no.
PCs.
Good evening, Mass, by the way. Nice to see you. Mass Raiders in the room.
Hey, Mass. But yeah, I promise I won't mention Insurgency any further, Mask, other than saying shit, I'm using it as a benchmark. But yeah, I'm consistently getting 80 to over 100 FPS on that, on a 1080 Ti. There's nothing wrong with the older cards. So I think what we're seeing right now is a bit of creative marketing of, look at all this new shit we put in. But I think a lot of people, no matter the cost, are going to be upping the GPUs. And yeah, they'll get a lot of benefits for it. But will they necessarily need it right now?
I don't think it's a need, but if you like us boys, you do. I mean, I'm saying that I haven't got the latest tech on GPUs because I'm buying a new house. But there's a lot of people out there, such as ourselves, where, I mean, we want the latest tech. So we've seen new tech come out. We've seen a new GPU come out. So therefore, we feel that we need to have it, not necessarily that we have to have it, but we feel that we need to have it. And I think it's been a quick turnaround this time. I don't know about you boys.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. I think there's been a little bit of subtly creative marketing there where we had the 2 series come out, or the 20 series come out, whatever the hell you want to call it. We had that came out, and then very, very shortly after, we had the 30 or 3000, the 30 series come out. That, to me, just absolutely screams creative marketing, because you get everyone hyped up on the 20 series, you get the ray tracing, you get everyone really, really buzzed about this. Everyone's going to go,
Yeah.
going to get a 20 series, and then you go, bang, 30 series knocks 20 series out of the water.
But do you not think this is a bit naughty, though? Because what about these people who's just bought a 2080 Ti and they're thinking, shit, I've only just bought this and the newer product is now out within such a short space of time?
That is morally bankrupt. I will openly say that is morally bankrupt, but I will also say that's business.
Of course, totally agree.
Countless times in the tech industry and other industries where you will have it's similar to, it's not Goldilocks pricing, but it's similar to it. You essentially present 3 options to them: the underpriced, underpowered option, the 10 series, if you will, the reasonable 20 series. It's the bait and switch. That's what it is. Bait and switch. Sorry, I remember the name. And once you've presented someone, you've got them into the idea of, buying something, as they do with the 20 series. You then go, but for 50p more, you can
Yes.
And then I think that is definitely what has happened with the 30 series. No, I'm not pointing fingers or anything, but I'm saying,
but you are.
yes. I'm not. What I should say is, I'm not slamming Nvidia, because they're a genuinely good company. All I'm saying is, if this was planned, a bit scummy, but fair enough. That's how business works. And this is again why I don't really jump to tech immediately when it comes out, because I didn't get a 10 series card until about 6 to 10 months.
But after the release?
No. Before the 1080 Ti went out of production.
Oh, right. Okay.
Anymore. But this is my point that I was saying earlier. 1080 Ti, absolute beast. 4K, no issues, nothing. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. I had it for a while now. And one of my mates was actually saying, I want to upgrade my GPU, because he had, I think it was a 1060, 1070, something.
Okay. Which is still capable at the end of the day.
Capable, exactly. And he was saying, I want to get a 20 series, but it's way too high. I was like, just get a 1080 Ti. They're cheaper and they're much more powerful, because we were actually comparing the performance of both of them. And the 1080 Ti outstripped all of the 20 series until they brought out a 20 Ti.
Exactly. Yeah, no, you're right.
Amazing. Where do I get them? And both of us spent about an hour looking around the mass that is the interwebs, and we couldn't find them for sale anywhere.
Right, okay.
Anywhere. Like, not even surplus stock. I couldn't even find that. So
no OEMs or nothing like that?
I couldn't find anything.
Sure.
But this is again what I'm saying. You have a completely viable lower end product that people like. You take away that lower option and go, have you heard about this, the 20 series? And then once you've got people in the mood for upgrading and buying, you slam down the absolute giant killer, so to speak. And you go, here's the 30 series. Have you had a look at this? And then people like us, people with disposable income, or people who just like their tech, will be very open to the idea of spending that additional $500, $600, $700+ whatever your currency is, on that higher option, because we're already in the mindset of buying something, and we've already been partially through the process of justifying a big purchase to ourselves.
Yeah. Just want to say hello, Harem King. Nice to see you. Thanks a lot for coming along. I know you usually come on for Chris. Thanks for coming along, mate. He said, yo, boomer. No, I asked that question. I really went on to that question because Mass Raider said the RTX 3000 was announced as soon as he bought his 2060. So I'm just feeling that, would you not feel a bit of a dick? Or because I've just bought that and now the new shit's out. And if you're that sort of person, that way inclined, you'll think, now I've got to buy this card.
Oh, of course, and that is the scummy bit of this marketing strategy, if it is indeed a deliberate marketing strategy, because what you've basically done is either you've left some people to have to deal with the aftermath of the purchase, either try and get it refunded or stick with it, or then suddenly scrap off a 20 card to get a 30 card. But I think what these people really need to realize is that you still have an incredibly capable piece of hardware.
Definitely.
You don't need a 30 card. Nothing nowadays, unless you are going bizarro 4K monitors or 8K monitors or something like that, and you want 144 refresh hertz monitor or some shit like that. You don't need it. So I personally think, if you were in a situation where you bought a 20 card and you're really upset that a 30 card has come out, I think what you need to do is just remember your piece of hardware outstrips what most of the people will currently be having or currently getting their hands on, or is equal to it. And you will have absolutely no issues using that card for what you want to use it for. And in the long run, you've probably saved yourself money.
Hundreds, actually.
Exactly. If you bought a 30 card, that's going to last just as long as a 20 card, probably. Granted, it'll have a little bit long because it'll be a little bit more capable and such, but at the end of the day, you've not really lost anything because you had nothing to gain when you bought it, and also, you're not hamstringing yourself by having a slightly less powerful card. If anything, I think the people with the 20 cards have probably made the better decision, because I can't see...
Financially, you mean?
Yes, yeah.
Because he's still getting a card that can run basically anything. He'll be able to run anything for the next at least 12 months anyway.
I have a 1080 Ti. It can still ultra anything, even games from this year, 60 plus FPS. I cap my my refresh rates and such just so I'm not overtaxing the card, basically, needlessly, because I'm only going to see 60 frames per second. I don't want to generate 100 plus frames that I'm never going to see. But my point is, yes,
and actually, sorry, Stel, just to butt in, Harem's just made a comment there, and he said they could keep it GTX for 2 more years. He has got a point there, and he said, not going to lie, RTX is just a gimmick. Not sure if it's just a gimmick, but I think he's right on saying a GTX, you could just stay GTX for the next couple of years, because what I'm finding with the RTX, it's just a select few people that are actually buying into that, because they're ultimately capable with a GTX card, and you really, and again it goes back to the need or the want. You don't really need an RTX card. It's great if you've got one, because a GTX is adequate for anything that's out now, and possibly for another 12 to 18, maybe it's 2 years.
By the time your 20 card has run its course and is actually becoming obsolete, i.e. you are getting recommended levels of performance from games or whatever you're using it for, that is when you can justify to yourself getting a new card. For example, my 1080 Ti, I'm probably going to ride that thing into the ground for another 4 years.
Fucking hell, mate.
Until I start getting, average level performances. Now I'm just like, right, rip it out. And then what I'll do is what I was discussing between us a couple of days ago. I will immediately buy the highest possible card that is available.
And then go from there for a few years like you did with that card. Yeah.
You just honestly don't need it. As long as you get, because for me, I'm a bit of a snob, I will openly admit that. If I can't get ultra and I can't get high, I'll get disappointed. If I can get it to run and I like the game, I'll go with it, whatever. But I won't use that for production or anything. But this is what I'm saying. If you've bought a 20 card, don't be upset with yourself, because you'll be able to play your games, you'll be able to do whatever you want to do for a long, long time.
I'm actually with you. I'm totally with you on that. I'm honestly totally with you on that. I'm understanding exactly what you say, and I'm actually with you on that. Can we just pop over to Chris? Chris, do you think it's a need or a want? What do you think it is more so? Is it the need to have that card, or is it the fact that you just want to have that card? I mean, I know Chris likes to stay up with a top tech. I remember when he got his 2080, he had it before anyone that I know anyway. So, Chris, what are your thoughts on this? Is it more a need or is it more a want, do you think?
It actually depends on the user himself. So usually how this goes. So here we got the 1080 series. Look, we presented something new. Here is the new rigs. So basically everything was upgraded, blah, blah, blah. We got like 20% power. People realize like, yo, this GPU is only like 10 to 12% more powerful than the one I have. So people like think, should they upgrade to the bleeding edge or just stay to the older one? And today's standard, like the RTX 3000 series, this one is actually quite a nasty pull by NVIDIA, because we got RTX 2000 series, so it was actually, I think, 20% more powerful than previous one, which was without ray tracing. So it doesn't make any sense to upgrade from a 1080 Ti to a 2080 Ti just to get to that, how did Harm call it, a gimmick. To this day, I don't think RTX is a gimmick, since it was used in the development of games, I personally know this, for quite a while now. And having upgraded lighting system, I don't know how to say it properly, I'm sorry. Having it upgraded and feel more realistic, I guess it's a good thing, since we're pushing innovations. But as of right now, it's actually a gimmick, because it just barely started being pushed in like the.
I actually think that's what Harden meant. I mean, there is a place for it, Chris. There is. I mean, RTX obviously has got a place and it's making it all more realistic. But like you've just said, Chris, and I've got to agree with Harden that at this moment in time, its capabilities are somewhat. Personally, for me, and I'm sure Harden, because he made the comment, it is to me a little bit of a gimmick. It's feasible, and it's, you know, like you say, it's innovation, but it's like when 3D televisions came out initially. It was a massive push forward, but there was no need for it, if you know what I mean. I think RTX cards are going to work.
At first.
Yeah, exactly.
It became really outdated afterwards.
Very quickly.
It was really outdated when it came out. Then there was like cinemas, so you could just go there and watch the movies yourselves instead of spending thousands of dollars
on a 3D TV.
Yeah, and also you have to purchase glasses as well. So
sat in your own home like a fucking idiot.
So I actually piggyback that point.
Sure,
man.
Another good example: VR.
Yeah, exactly.
Died a death, and now has had a massive resurgence simply because there wasn't content for it.
And the prices dramatically come down.
Drastically, yes. Yeah. That's exactly what we will see with GPUs that have ray tracing and all that fanciness built in. And another thing I want to actually pitch out there is you get something like Witcher, you get your big open world RPGs, things that are built to look beautiful.
And they do.
That is where you will get, yes, they bloody well do. That is where you'll get things that look amazing. But equally, I want to raise the point of, if you're playing something competitive, let's say you're playing Modern Warfare or something, you crank everything up to Ultra. You go in, you're going along, it's great, you're in, I don't know, let's just say some environment, there's a big-ass light bulb over there, you look at the corridor's clear, bang, bang, you go down. What happens if you do turn that ray tracing off, the ambient occlusion off? What happens if you dial back that lighting? You either seen the guy at the other end.
Yeah, agreed.
That is something that I think people need to really, really consider, because a lot of times in games, if you bump your settings down, your performance goes up.
Which, believe it or not, that's exactly what I've started to do.
Yes, and to give an example of this, I used to play a bit of DayZ with friends. And we were about to go into a town. For people who don't know, it's open world.
Yeah.
PvP, anything goes. Literally 3 of us went into a town. There was 4 other people on the server. There was next to zero chance we bump into someone. My mate next to me takes a round and goes down out of nowhere. We were pinned down because we don't like logging out of servers. We liked actually playing those combats out.
Yeah.
We were pinned for about 20 minutes trying to figure out where this sniper was until one of us decides, fuck it, knocks down all the settings to minimum, stands up and goes, he's over there. And I was like, where? He said about 6 feet right of the tree. What do I do? Flick out a fucking bipod and start lighting it up with 50 round drum magazine.
Shit.
I was the squad machine gunner.
Shit.
And what does he do? He gets up and starts running. I was like, how the fuck do you see him? He was like, I turned the grass off.
Oh shit.
This is my point. This is my point. Extreme, but this is my point. For all this new hardware you're getting in, all this new stuff that you're now piling onto your game, if you really care about doing well, if that's your shtick, do you really need it?
Because it all goes back to ray tracing makes a game look beautiful. The lighting, the shadows, the way the actual game looks itself. But I think at this moment in time, even though these cards are so powerful, it can affect your actual gameplay. As you've just explained, you can miss shit because the game's looking that nice that it's it's detrimental to the actual gameplay itself.
Yeah, and that's something that I find has gotten better over the years. The minimum sort of level of performance and such visual performance within games has gone up, so there's a lot less exploits such as turn off the fucking grass.
So that's what Mass just said. Turn off the grass, lol.
If you're playing DayZ and you want to do well, bump your draw distance all the way down and the grass just turns off.
Right, okay.
It's just flat. It's just flat for miles.
No grass, please. No grass.
No grass for British. But anyway, yeah, this is my point. We are in a grey area right now where, one, games don't have all of this beauty built into them at that level yet. Two, if you force that beauty, you could well be handicapping your own performance should you care about performance. And again, this, I think, goes against wanting the 30 series, because if you're really pushing for that level of stuff, you're either not going to have much at all, or you're probably going to handicap yourself, because we've already seen in a lot of games, you're in a bright, something that's pushed over the recent years was you're in a bright environment, you go to a dark environment, your screen has to adjust because your eyes are adjusting, or vice versa. I can't tell you how many times that's got me killed in various games because I can't see shit. So what do? I bump it down, and that's literally, you're paying to have that handicap in FPSs and.
But you know what, gentlemen? I still want one. I don't need it. I know I don't need it, but I want one.
I need it.
Oh, guys, you don't need one of them. It's all bollocks and all that. Yeah, mate, how much is that? Give us one. Do you know what I mean? Regardless how we're trying to justify it or not justify it because we have or we haven't got one, or we have or we aren't getting one, I fucking want one.
Yes. Yeah. I want it just on principle for just being able to turn everything up to maximum, look at my GPU load and see.
Just so you can. I know. But can I just say something? Anyone who's watching, it's an open mic night tonight. Like I say, we've got Chris from CT Gaming Zone. If you're not subscribed to his channel, just search on YouTube CT Gaming Zone. You've got Stealth Slicer 77. Please subscribe to them as well. And if you're not subscribed to me, you need to be. So. If you've got anything you want us to talk about tonight, please put it in the message box there. Let us know if there's something you want us to talk about, and we'll try and do that. It's totally an open mic tonight. We're going to go anywhere that the stream takes us. Should we move on, gents? Anyone got a suggestion?
Could I venture a topic?
Yeah. Cool, man.
Yeah. We're getting into the Xbox X series. We're getting into PS5. I want to say PS6. For some reason, my mind is skipping ahead of generation.
Have you heard something that we don't know about, Stealth?
Oh, shit.
Being a developer, mate.
Maybe. Honestly, if PS6 is fucking announced now, I'm going to lose my shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, PS5, 30 series, 20 series. I would like to discuss our best games and best moments from the current outgoing generation, i.e., PS4, Xbox One,
Sure.
sort of last 4 or 5 years PC, something.
Well, should we first find out what kind? I mean, we're all. Oh yeah, we need to let Chris finish what he was going to say as well. Sorry, Mas. Well, first of all, Chris, you finish off what you were actually saying about the because we butted in and we went off on a tangent. Sorry, Chris, we sort of moved somewhere else. But we were talking about need or want, and you were going on about it depends on the people that are buying the GPUs. Because I was asking, is it a real need to have it, or is it you just want to have it? We'll let you finish yours.
So basically, once again, just to resume everything. So going from 1080 to 2080 Ti, it was like 20% power increase. So basically, it's just 20%. Imagine going from like a 1070 to a 1080, like 970 to 1070. It's not that big of a difference. But if you go from like 970 to 2070, that's already a huge difference because there is generational improvements. And now what we got is NVIDIA. So just to say this straight, these benchmarks were made just by NVIDIA themselves. They could be easily lying. So we got on like
oh, so they're not independent, Chris. Sorry, I don't mean to put in, but they're not.
Volkswagen scandal.
Shit.
See, so basically they said it's double the power of a 2080 Ti, it's double the power of a Titan, but it's actually just NVIDIA's bullshit. So
shit, I didn't know that.
You should first see what's the actual difference between these graphics cards. And yes, I do understand people actually want these, just like you said, oh shit, so there is a new series, why the hell did I bought this one? So I'm going to sell it. And there's already a flood of 2080 Ti's just selling for $700. So you can easily snag one and have like a good GPU for years ahead. Yeah. If I'd actually bought a 2080 Ti, I would keep it until like 2025 or something.
Yeah.
For streaming, like my tasks, which I do, is just enough. My GPU right now is a 2070.
I thought it was a 2080. Sorry, Chris. I thought it was a 2080.
It's a 2070.
Okay.
So 2070, I bought it in 2019. And it started coughing on me, especially when I started upgrading. I got myself a more powerful CPU for streaming. Then I got myself like a 2K 144 FPS monitor. And now I need the power to actually stream. And this thingy started to chug because it just reached its maximum capabilities with my current setup. So for me, it's an actual requirement to upgrade to a new GPU. But at the same time, what pushes you to go to the 3000 series if we have AMD around with a rumored 2080 Ti powered GPU?
Exactly.
It will consume a lot less power than what NVIDIA right now does. Because they even made a proprietary pin so it could consume like about 600 watts. So those things are really power hungry. You actually need a big power supply to power them on.
Exactly.
Like, let's say with an i7, that's not like counting Threadrippers, Ryzen 9s. So a lot is going on right now.
No, exactly. Exactly.
Like I said, it depends on the person. If a person feels like, all right, so looks like my GPU has reached its limits, you should go for the purchase. If you are having more than enough power with your GPU, just sit on it, mate. Because right now, 2060, Masked Raider, I've seen your comment. Right now, 2060 will hold for about 3 or 4 years. So you shouldn't worry about issues like this. Because ray tracing right now is still a gimmick. It still is, because it's just used mainly for rendering in games, like rendering scenes for like trailers and stuff, you know. It's only for presentation. Once it fully starts to grow in the market, so we have like 50% market share of ray tracing games, then you should consider getting one. For now, everything is just a gimmick.
So you think the technology's gone too far too quick, that we actually don't necessarily need it at this moment in time? It's just that their innovations they're pushing out straight away. Because I think I'd agree with that, because I don't think we need the cards that we're getting now, the 3000 series. I think it's going to be two and a half years down the line before they can be totally and utterly utilized within games. Like you say, I think at this moment in time, they're just used for cutscenes.
Yeah, you're very right there, because people need to think of the actual process of this. The GPU you could almost consider to be your primary industry. If the GPU does not support it or does not do it well, the games industry isn't going to utilize that feature. Now that we have access to built-in ray tracing, something that can properly handle it, the games industry is going to go, that looks interesting. Let's do more of that. And I bet you that NVIDIA will be sponsoring some games companies to go, hey, do some ray tracing shit, yeah? Because you always see GPU companies hooking up with games companies to promote their stuff and say,
definitely,
and say, I can't remember which one it was, but whenever I open up GeForce Experience or whatever the hell it is to do drivers and shit, I've always got games adverts plastered, and hey, buy the 20 series, buy the 30 series,
every single time.
Every single
time.
And that's the thing. I think we will definitely see in the next 2 to 3 years a massive explosion in games advertising. We have ray tracing because we now have the facility native to the card to do that.
So I just want to say this. Even if you think RTX 3000 is like an useless upgrade, it's still pushing, because if you just sit on like the 2080 basis, so it's just 20% more power, and you got like barely working RTX, because remember, when you run it in rasterization mode, you can have like 120 FPS, 144 FPS. If you turn on ray tracing, you either have 50 or 60 FPS. Meanwhile, in the new generation, you can actually run these without destroying your FPS. So you should count that they're actually improving upon this tech.
No, definitely.
It's not stagnation. They are pushing for this to become mainstream.
No, they are innovating. You're right. I totally agree with you, Chris. I'm not sure or not convinced that. Not that it's not worth it, because like I said before, I want one and I'd love to have one, but I just think it's too fast, too quick. For me anyway, I don't think we'll get the best capabilities out of these cards for at least, 18 months, a couple of years.
Yeah, it'll take a while.
Until we get a response from AMD, I'm not thinking about getting one, because remember, the competition can always come back, because we had...
Like they're doing with the processors.
So you should look for AMD, because they will introduce something. I think RDNA 2 will be an interesting architecture, especially when these fucking things are huge and consume a lot of wattage. Meanwhile, we can have like a 2080 Ti that consumes like 100, maybe 200 watts. So you should think of that.
No, cool. I think that was an interesting conversation, actually, seeing as we're just doing open mic and we really didn't know what we wanted to talk about tonight. But should we go back to what Stel said? Just explain what you were saying, or if you need to say something, Stel.
Sure. Just before we do, I just want to poke some fun at myself. Chris, you said you upgraded to a 2070 from a what?
From 970, I think it was.
Would you like to know what I upgraded to the 1080 Ti?
Was that a voodoo card?
I upgraded from a GTX 650.
Wow. Again, that'll still play games, though. It'll still, it'll struggle a bit, but...
It'll struggle a lot, but hey... It'll work, but yeah, I had a massive jump up. It was like I reached the bar. I got 1080 Ti in there.
But what a feeling when you go from night and day, though, from a 6 series to it's nice. It's like, honestly, Chris will tell you this. When I went from a 60 hertz monitor up to a 144, it was night and day. And I didn't believe all that shit. I thought, there's no way I'm going to tell the difference. But I've got 260 just at the side here, and I've got my 144 here, and they look dull as shit, but they didn't when I was just using them. They look great. But the two at the side look shit now, and this is clear as day. It's crystal clear.
My poor little 650, it got to the point where I'd used it for forever and a day, and it would crash when playing Titanfall. 2
Yeah.
because it was just overloaded and it would die. And that was on Titanfall minimum settings. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this thing is, and it was just like, would you like some ultra with that? I was like,
Yes.
my mind was blown. But anyway, going back to our new topic,
Okay.
we're going into the new generation of consoles, new generation of graphics cards. What are our best games and best moments in those games from the outgoing generation?
From consoles
consoles or PC.
or PCs. Okay, Chris, I'll let you go first, mate.
So, related to the consoles, I'm saying this for the consoles first because it's already like the sunset of the 8th generation. So, we're actually seeing quite impressive games. Like I said, Witcher. That thing is to this day destroying some PCs. Like the graphics there from 2015 to this day have held really well. We also got Battlefield 4, Battlefield 1, like especially Battlefield series. Although I'd argue about Battlefield V because that looks worse than Battlefield 1 released in 2016. That's also a technological push. Then there is, of course, The Last of Us. I know it's quite controversial, but Last of Us 2 looks really amazing. It pushes PlayStation like to the limits because from what I heard, the fans are just destroying that thing. It's really overheating. And that's actually and also Red Dead Redemption 2 because
Did you buy that, Chris?
Red Dead Redemption. No, man, I never bought them, but
Alright,
I have
okay.
seen some gameplay. So personally, I'm not into westerns. Like Last of Us also didn't inspire me. I played the first one. I really enjoyed it, but the second one, after hearing the controversies, I was like, fuck it. I don't want to try that train wreck. So, although I give it credit because it looks really amazing, the story-wise, it's absolute garbage. And Red Dead Redemption, of course, being Rockstar quality games, is just amazing. The realism there, you can actually just walk on like snow and you can see footsteps.
Footprints, yeah.
So that's just amazing. They pushed it a lot.
So probably my best experience on the consoles, believe it or not, I mean, it's not my favorite game. My favorite game of all time is Battlefield 4. I don't know. I just sunk so much time into that game. It's my favorite game of all time. But probably my best experience, believe it or not, was Battlefield 1. It was incredible on the Xbox. I thought it was amazing that they could get those sort of graphics, that sort of gameplay out of a console. But my best experience on a PC was probably when I had my shops, which was a long, long time ago. I closed the last one in 2010, was the first Call of Duties, believe it or not, because their campaigns, PC only, were incredible. It was like, what the how did they put this in that box? How do they do this? So probably my best experience on the Xbox was Battlefield 1, even though Battlefield 4 is my favourite game of all time. And my best experience on the PC was probably the first Call of Duty campaigns on PC.
Those are all good picks. I definitely agree with that. I think I'll pick one from Xbox, one from PS4, and one from PC, I think. Xbox, I never got the One Series, nor do I plan on getting the X Series. I think I've probably been swayed to PS. Don't know, not decided. But Xbox 360, 2007 to 2012-ish, Halo 3, Halo Reach. That was a beautiful, beautiful end of an era for me. Absolutely beautiful games for the time, and I loved the series. I loved getting on because 2007, for those people who do not know, was in the absolute throes of Xbox toxicity, and it built character. It honestly was defining.
A character builder.
Not really, but
not really.
It was characteristic of its age, is what I'm sorry to say. Not building character on people actually playing, because it wasn't people being assholes left, right, and center. And being an asshole is not a character trait; it's being an asshole. But anyway, I remember endless nights being up until God knows how late in the morning, just hopping into endless Halo lobbies with mates and just chatting utter shit for hours on end. And it was a beautiful end to an era, I feel. And I don't really think we've had anything like that since. Honestly, I've not felt that same level of utter carefreeness as I did back in sort of 2007 to 2012 in the Halo 3, Halo Reach era,
Yeah.
both in terms of a game and its community. Jumping over to PS4, I
Yeah.
really bloody enjoyed Bloodborne.
Bloodborne. Now that's an unusual choice, in all fairness.
To be fair, I haven't played many PS4 games, but I genuinely love Bloodborne because I'm a massive fan of the Soulsborne series. I'm a big fan of I don't want to call it Lovecraft mythos because Bloodborne is not part of the Lovecraft mythos. It is inspired by.
Bye.
I thought the story that Bloodborne had to tell was thoroughly enthralling. I thought the gameplay was very refreshing for a Souls game. Its aesthetic was very new. I got completely swept up in the world and I loved it. And just the amount of times where I've been playing the game and out of nowhere I'll just hear a little bell tingling in the distance. I'm like, right, I need to be careful now. And you get that message at the bottom, invaded. All right, let's fucking throw down. Some guy I've never met, some guy I can never talk to. We're ducking, we're diving, we're rolling around, we're doing whatever it takes to survive. And just out of nowhere, someone will get a lucky gunshot or a lucky trick transformation of the weapon, and suddenly the fight shifts. It's all those split-second on-a-dime moments, and I loved it, both in PvP and also when you're actually doing in-game PvE content. It just had so many moments that were just resting on the absolute knife edge. There's a great video on YouTube. I think it's called the greatest fine in Bloodborne, and Bloodborne has a system where you can leave messages for other players, and if you rate that message fine, it will give its owner 100% health. It will reset it full. And what happens in the video is amazing because he's fighting a boss. He is on the back foot. The boss comes in, slams down an attack, which would kill him. As it strikes, someone rates his message fine, boosts him up to 100, keeps him in the fight, and he wins.
Yeah, sure.
Little moments like that.
Like that.
Anywhere else, I had that multiple times. I was in a fight in, people who know the game will know this, but Mensis Nightmare. That's where you went for PvP. I was just there. I was getting absolutely bodied, fine flicked up on my screen. I was like, back in the game, lads. And I just got overly aggressive and just started attacking. And it put me right back. And it was just sudden changes like that in the game was so refreshing. But moving on to PC, I have to say, good God, there's so many good ones. But I would personally have to say Titanfall franchise.
Loved it.
In my opinion, is the only game which has been able to properly.
And have a wild guess what I was playing today. Titanfall 2 reinstalled. I watched a video by oh shit, I forgot his name. Scott Jordan. Scott Jordan watched his video today. Scott Jordan. So he was on about I'll convince you to play Titanfall 2, and you know what? I'll put it on today, and what an absolute ball I had playing it. First time I ever on PC, by the way. And I had an absolute ball on it. I was useless. I was crap, but I thought, I remember playing this on the Xbox, and I had an absolute ball on that today.
It's a beautiful game because it's the only one that synergizes
the most underrated franchise going.
Yes. And I'm so disappointed that Respawn have invested so heavily in Apex. Not financially or as a business, excellent move. But for God's sake, Respawn, I implore you, Titanfall. But the story it tells is beautiful. The voice acting, you got Matt fucking Mercer in there as the main character. It's an absolute joy.
It's on another level, to be honest, and the gameplay is amazing.
Yeah, and this is the thing. It takes you in a direction that so many games have just fallen flat on their face of have the player and have an NPC companion. And whenever you say that, people immediately just think the NPC companion is a load of shit. It's going to break the game for you. Why can't I turn them off? But when you play Titanfall 2, you've got BT with you. he's making quips. You're making quips, and he doesn't understand, and he feels almost like a trusty pet dog, like dog meat out of Fallout or anything like that. He's great to be around, and it's absolutely lovely. And then shit just changes. You're jumping your Titan, suddenly you're thrashing through the environment. The story has lots of twists and turns. I still don't want to, even though it's so far on, I still don't want to say any spoilers about it, because if you haven't played Titanfall 2, I implore you, if you want to,
play it. Definitely play it.
Just pick it up and save if you have to.
Because I think I'll be playing a lot of that for the next few weeks, because I'm looking for something else to play. I'm bored of, in fact, I'm not bored of Call of Duty multiplayer. Slag me if you want, boys. But I'm enjoying it. But when I watched that Scott Jordan video, subscribe to Scott Jordan, by the way. And tell him Devlin sent you. I thought, you know what, I'm going to reinstall it. I installed it today. It's like 50 gig or something. And I booted it up. I was just a noob. I'd never played it on PC before. It was all Xbox that I was used to. And honestly, I have to reiterate, I had an absolute ball on that game. It's the most underrated, seriously, I said it before, the most underrated franchise hands down out there.
Yeah, it's criminally underrated to the point where I get genuinely annoyed that that I get genuinely upset that it's still not an active sequel in production that we know about. It's still not getting the attention it deserves, because it deserves so much more.
Exactly. Chris, are you a Titanfall player? Have you ever played it?
Yeah, I did. I actually played the beta for the first one. I didn't actually enjoy it so much because it was only forced on always online, and the campaign was quite weird.
I enjoyed the campaign, I must admit, and both of them.
The first one was weird, but the second one is an absolute masterpiece. So I'm telling you, that game is really underrated.
Yeah,
the main mistake they did.
Titanfall 1 was Titanfall 1 was not a game in and of itself. It was a proof of concept for a much better game. That's the way that I see the series. And you look at the difference, you look at how amazing Titanfall 1 was if you think of Titanfall 1 as a gameplay demo almost for Titanfall 2, holy shit, it suddenly clicks, and you suddenly realize that Respawn made this amazing and fun game that was criminally underrated. They took everything and they absolutely smashed it with Titanfall 2. I can barely think of anything that didn't improve in the sequel, and that is the hardest thing for games.
And it just never worked. You know, the biggest mistake with that game was that they released it in between a Battlefield and a Call of Duty.
I wanted to say that they killed it because of dumbass decisions.
I believe that they were forced to do that. Don't quote me on it.
Oh, go on, Chris.
Still, I think it was a dumbass decision by EA, just pushing it between like the biggest titles out there. It was like the same situation happened in 2018 with like Black Ops 4 and Red Dead Redemption. In between those was Battlefield 5.
I know.
They did just to save their asses, because once you delay a game, they lose stocks. So that's the main reason why they didn't want to delay Titanfall.
All about money.
It's all about the money. So for this, I despise EA from the bottom of my heart for killing Titanfall. And it became really underrated. Now it will be really hard for it to actually come out. Although Apex Legends, listen me out here. Although Apex Legends was like a huge boom, it's a battle royale. So you should expect a lot of people to just jump, because it's a different take on the battle royales. Plus, it was actually revealed that some folks were paid to do like all of these ads and stuff. So people, of course, would go and support them and come to the game. And after like about 3 months, it just set out about 100,000. Don't get me wrong, that's
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but still, like from 1 million to like 100,000, that's quite a loss.
It's a big difference.
Yeah, that's quite a loss. So
I think what vexes me, two things that vex me the most about Apex, and I'm not slamming the game, it's an excellent game, it's just not my genre, and this is purely from a outside perspective, looking at it from you know what the future holds.
Yeah.
And the thing that just vexes me to no end is, one, EA now owns Respawn, and Apex is going to continually make money. Respawn is never ever going to be unshackled from Apex. They are going to be made to keep supporting that until it stops making money for EA, which is going to hamstring any development efforts for any other game. 2, Apex is billed as a Titanfall game. It's not a Titanfall game. It's in the Titanfall universe.
Titanfall universe, yeah.
It's not a Titanfall game. And for some reason, people within the industry and such, and people within the consumer base, register that as a valid Titanfall installment. So they think it's okay that we would have to wait God knows how many years before they even...
For the next iteration.
Yeah, and that's what concerns me, because if people accept that as a Titanfall game, which it's not, it's a Battle Royale game set in the Titanfall universe, we suddenly have even less chance of getting an actual Titanfall game.
But is there not a rumour out that there is a Titanfall 3 in development because of the success of Apex? I'm sure I've heard something.
The owner, not the owner of Respawn, sorry. I think it was CEO or one of the high-ups of Respawn came out and said, we are not working on Titanfall 3 categorically, to dispel that rumour.
Okay.
They came out and said that's not a thing.
So am I right? There was a rumor though, because it just popped into my head.
The rumor was that Apex was going to be Titanfall 3, and then that rumor then evolved to, holy shit, they've launched this. Is this to back up Titanfall 3, basically? To which, I believe it was the CEO, don't quote me, came out and said, we have not been working on a Titanfall sequel. We have been working purely on Apex. We have no plans to work on Titanfall.
I find it really hard to believe sometimes developers and publishers at the end of the day.
I do, but I mean, consider that Apex came out 2 to 3. Let me just check. Legends release date. Yeah,
2018, was it not?
2009, sorry, February 4th.
19?
A year and a half, roughly.
Shit, I thought it was out longer than that.
We've had a year and a half.
Harden King, you're talking bollocks, mate. No F for Titanfall. Titanfall was a great game.
No, but it was forced to
looking
like
at that date. That means that in the terms of game development cycles, you're usually looking at roughly 2 years to 4 years. That means in terms of game development cycles, we've probably only, if it is sticking to a 2-year or 3 or 4 year cycle, that means we would only just have started working or thinking about working on Titanfall 3 about now or next year. So, come on, Respawn. I'm not telling you to get your finger out your ass or like that. I'm just.
But you think they should?
Genuine fan. Give us.
Okay, so the watchers out there, anyone got anything that you want us to talk about? Maybe you put it down and we missed it. Obviously, there's myself, there's Chris at CT Gaming Zone, and Stealth Slicer 77. If you've got anything on the open mic night tonight that you want us to talk about, please put it in the comments, and we'll try and talk about that. Anyway, anything else, boys, that yous have got that we can talk about? Chris, have you got any topics you wanted to talk about? Intel, I think.
Yeah, it was all of the Intel versus competition stuff. That was like a really nasty thing they did to AMD just to get like reputation and stuff. In the end, it's just they just promoted AMD in their presentation. If you've seen the introduction of Tiger Lake, that's the 11th generation. Yeah. They couldn't even bother to tell their own CPU name. They just said it's like, all right, so this is Intel 11th gen CPU. That's it. And everything else is just either competition or Ryzen 4800U. They basically did a marketing campaign for AMD instead of presenting 11th generation, aka the sequel to that Skylake refresh, 14 nanometers, plus, who knows how many pluses are there. So that's how basically everything went from there related to Intel and stuff like that.
So I missed this. Where was this, Chris? Because I remember you were talking to me about it earlier on today, and I totally missed it.
They had like a recent presentation which introduced like 11th gen Intel Core i3, i5, and i7s, I think, for the
Okay.
laptops. It's called the Tiger Lake. And the majority of this presentation, they were just talking about like competition versus competition.
But they weren't saying AMD.
They were saying versus AMD 4800U.
Right, okay.
That's probably the biggest thing they actually put there.
Sure.
So it's really competitive though. Like, don't get me wrong, that CPU is really competitive towards AMD. But on the other side, they just ruined everything related to Intel's basically PR, because they're just talking about competition, not their
Come and say hello.
bonuses, not their positive sides. They're just saying, all right, so this is better than AMD. This is better.
Jack's going to come and say hello.
Mrs. Devlin.
Hi.
Hello.
Mrs. Devlin on the mic.
Hang on. Let her talk. Hang on. He says
Hi.
Mrs. Devlin on the mic. You're actually on the podcast at the moment, so
Oh, am I?
no swearing. Don't say fuck. Don't say anything like that.
I don't swear.
Say hello to Harem King and Mass Raider.
Say hello to who?
Harem King,
Hiram King.
yeah, and Mass Raider.
Mash Reader. Hi, Mash Reader and Hiram King.
He's got a harem of women, or he thinks he has.
Oh man, I'm
wishes
losing
he
myself.
What are you chatting?
Well, you can contribute because you know a lot about GPUs and CPUs. And
Oh, yeah. What are you chatting about in normal English?
We chat about the video box that make the images.
All right. Okay. Well, I'll let you get on with it then, lads. Wait to drink downstairs with my son.
See you later, sweetheart.
See ya.
Thanks, guys. Special guest on tonight's podcast, we have Jack, my missus. I do apologise. She knows fuck all about tech. So anyway, she said hello to Harem King and Mass Raider.
So
Sorry, gents, sorry.
So yeah, like that Intel presentation was a complete train wreck. Like, instead of promoting their product and saying this is really great, we introduced a new generation. We introduced like a new logo, which they had like a cringy statement about it. Like, it's just awful to look at it. But still, they just dropped the ball with the presentation of 11th gen, and I swear, if the next one continues to go like this, Intel is in a world of trouble, because that was abysmal. I'm telling this straight. So,
Well, it doesn't sound like good news. It doesn't sound like a great way to, as a tech company, to conduct yourself. But I have to say, I'm AMD all day long. I have been, even in the shop when I had the shops, or I always promoted AMD. I just think the better bang for the buck. And now, I personally think they're the better processor in general, not just for the money. I mean, I think it's been decades they've been trying to do it, but I think, the next couple of years, they are going to blow Intel out of the water, and I'm going to be sticking with AMD anyway. I love the Ryzen processors.
yeah, they deserve it.
Yep.
Just admit, I'm in the very interesting position.
Gentlemen, can you keep talking? I'm just going to go for a cigarette.
Yeah, sure.
Cheers.
I'm in the very interesting position where I have never had any CPU other than Intel. I've never had a Ryzen anything. I've always just been Intel. Simply, it's what the builds have had, basically. But equally, I've never had issues with them. So when I hear these things about, Intel is trash, or, it doesn't work for this or it doesn't work for that, I'm always left scratching my head because I've honestly never had issues.
So, just like you said, Intel is more for the stability, since they are just improving on everything they got. Meanwhile, AMD is always trying to do something new, because remember, they did first the 64-bit stuff. So they were the first to actually do 64-bit in general for the CPUs. Then they did like the multi-cores, then they went for the gigahertz, and now they're just like remaking all of these things. And now that they got the architecture they wished, now they're just developing it. So basically, they are pushing more on the side of the Intel. They are becoming Intel, but not in a way like a monopoly, like being a little bitch, like how they were in that thingy, which they presented basically 11th gen, but is just ranting about AMD. Meanwhile, they are just, building upon stuff. So if you want Intel, this is for the stability. If you want something, let's say for cheap, but you also right now get more performance out of it, I guess you should go with AMD. That's how it goes.
Yeah, I can definitely understand a performance versus stability based market, if you will. Because, I mean, those are both things that are very important within any system. Your general, as we say, the ability to do stuff versus the ability to do stuff almost. You have to pick which one you want. Going forward into the future, you okay there?
Yeah, I think that was Devlin. So
Oh, fair. It just sounded like someone just collapsed and died. Oh, God. All right, open mic night. I'm enforcing my ability to talk about whatever I want.
Devlin back.
Oh, hey. That did you just hit something or like close a door?
Just close the door. Sorry, I've got to get because I don't know if you noticed on my last video as well. It's very echoey, so I'm going to have to get some sort of sound padding or something in here.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing I can do. I mean, maybe it's because I haven't got curtains. I don't really know. But I'm going to have to do something because everything's really echoey. But that's the reason.
Something. So when you did that, it honestly sounded like someone just had a heart attack, fell over, and died. But I'm gonna call open mic night and
Go on, mate.
and just talk about whatever the fuck I want. Way back, I had a friend. I haven't spoken to him in years. Unfortunately, we just drifted out. But he did something stupid, and he ended up. I think he broke his arm or some shit like that. But this guy, who I don't fully trust myself, was trusted with his own morphine. Granted, he's not a junkie. He's not. I make him out sound a lot worse than he is. Because he was my best mate. I always gave him. Well, he was my best mate at the time. I always gave him digs. As I say, I've not been in contact with him for years. But he was put in charge of his own morphine because he was a responsible adult. Ha. And one day, about 4 days into having to deal with his own morphine, he was just
Sweat marks.
There was about 6 of us, and he was like, "Hang on, I need to take some morphine." So he took his morphine, and he got back, and obviously he started giggling non-stop. And we're like, "You okay?" And we didn't get anything out of him until all of a sudden we just heard and silence, dead.
This was on the mic.
This was on mic. This was with me, him, and about 4 other people. We were just chatting shit while playing games. We were like, "X, you okay?" Nothing. And we heard nothing. We were like, "Shit, does anyone know his address?" I was like, "All I know is he lives in Y, which is like 2 cities over from me." And then about a half hour later, we hear the laughing come back, and we're like, "Well, he's still alive." And then he climbs back. We hear him like physically having to get up off the floor, puts his head back, laughing his head off, and goes, "I fell off my chair." And you could just tell that he was so shit-faced after taking the morphine.
He'd taken so much morphine, shit.
Well, this is the thing. His dosage was so high because he's nursing a fucking broken arm. But it just knocked him straight out. And then once his body had recovered enough, he thought it was hilarious. So we were like, Andrew, I'm not going to say his full name.
It's Andrew, innit?
Like, "Andrew, are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You didn't fall on your arm, did you?" "Yeah." I was like, "You did or you didn't?" "Yeah." Fuck's sake, mate. We were genuinely concerned for his health and safety, but yeah, that's my enduring memory of him. Is just the time
Shit.
he with his own morphine and fucked himself.
Why would people do that? I mean, morphine's fucking madness. I don't understand how.
He wasn't abusing it. He was taking it as directed. It was he did not do anything wrong, because the way that it is done is you're given a certain number of dosages and that,
Yeah.
and you are not given any more. Basically, you have to have a shit ton of precautions about it because people get shit faced on it. And he was one of the most straight and narrow guys I've ever known. Yeah, he was a bit of a knob when he got drunk and that, but when it came to meds and shit,
Aren't we all?
properly straight and narrow to the point where he was actually locking that shit up because, you know, he was genuinely telling me, I need, in confidence at the time, he's like, I need to go on morphine. I'm genuinely scared. I was like, just do it as directed. Make sure you can't get at it whenever you want. Basically, was the advice given. And this was just by his doctor, and it just fucked him up.
I have to say this, though, Stealth. I can't understand. Why was he on morphine for a broken bone?
It was a actual fucked up arm, basically. I don't know the specific details of it, but
I mean, I broke my skull, my cheekbone, my jaw, both my legs, both my arms. My collarbone is fucked up. Hang on, I'll see if I can get it. See, look. My collarbone snapped here. If you can see it here, that's a big lump.
The stream's not caught up.
All right, okay. So I've never took anything like that. What the fuck? Get yourself a drink of whiskey and fucking deal with it.
He was part Irish. But anyway,
so he's probably doing that at the same time. Therein lies the issue.
He was gone for 4 days. No one knew where he was. He was like, I've been in hospital for 4 days. I basically fell on my side. I think what happened probably was he injured himself. As part of it, it was a broken arm. He was in the hospital for the broken arm. And then when he was released, the morphine was for whatever else he'd done to himself. So I wouldn't be surprised if he actually seriously damaged the side of his body, basically.
Yeah.
Because he was very into sports. He was very into biking and off-road shit. So I wouldn't be surprised if he actually had something else happen. But that basically happened, and that's my enduring story of just hearing something bizarre from the other side of a mic and wondering if died on stream.
Adam just said, bro, I went away, I'm now in Grey's Anatomy. It is open mic, and Stealth's got every right to talk about anything he wants to talk about. That's why we said you boys need to give us comments. It's not all about tech. It's not all about gaming, the podcast tonight. It's about absolutely anything. And I think I might talk about Moldova soon.
Let's have a see what shit Moldova's got.
I actually watched a video. Chris popped me a video of what is it, Bald and Broke or something?
Yeah, Bald and Bankrupt.
Bald and Bankrupt, yeah. And it wasn't a great sort of advertisement for Moldova. But I've been looking at on the internet about Moldova, and some parts of it are absolutely beautiful. And I actually asked Chris a question. I'll come to Chris on this one. I asked Chris a question because that Bald and Bankrupt, he actually asked all the people, would you prefer it to be Moldova as it is or a part of the Soviet Union? And honestly, 90% said a part of the Soviet Union. And I asked Chris, and he said, fuck that, fuck the Russians, Moldova all day long. So Chris, can you possibly explain that, why you think like the majority, and it was older people, Chris, I've got to give you that. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I'd say 95% of the older people said they would like it back with the Russians, but you said Moldova.
So the main deal is that basically they want the Soviet Union because everything was given away for free. Because, communism, all of that bullshit, But at the same time, you got, like, totalitarianism stuff. So that's why, to this day, Moldova is, like, broken into fucking pieces. Because we came out of Soviet Union, it was a complete shambles of a country. It was barely working in itself. And because I'm sorry to say this, but these fucking idiots are just thinking, like, so...
Daft boomers.
Them boomers, we're gonna get back Soviet Union and everything's gonna be great. So they're just riding the nostalgia factor.
But their argument was, Chris, that the country was in a better place. And if you watch that video, it's some of the places were in quite a state. And I'm sure that's not everywhere, but a lot of the older people said that when the Russians were here, it was a lot cleaner, everything got done. Apparently, there's a lot of corruption in Moldova. Please don't take that as an insult. It's just what I've seen. Do you think there's a lot of corruption in Moldova at the moment? Apparently, a lot of your wealth is going to the politicians and they're just taking it and sending it overseas for their nest egg.
So what I can say, I do actually think everything is just corrupt here because we got a big fucking hotel which is completely destroyed.
Seen it. Seen
No one
it.
gives a shit. No one gives a shit.
With them
about this
beautiful fountains.
yeah, beautiful fountains filled with worms and weeds and shit. So I'm not going to be shocked if I ever see one day that thing just fucking collapse in the middle of a city and someone will die there because our fucking folks don't give a shit. It's just when like something happens, like for example, we got a pandemic right now. This is when they actually give a shit about like, oh shit, so we got a pandemic. All right, let's try and help people. Well, if you got this kind of stuff and it falls apart, who knows? Maybe they'll just, I just fell apart, clean sweep it and build like a thingy there, give that terrain to someone, and they just build another one.
Because the Moldovans, they're entrepreneurs of Moldovans. If you can build tanks and helicopters in sheds in a field, I've got to hold my hands up and say, fucking hell, well done, boys.
When not only that, but you have to be able to do it in complete fucking secrecy.
I know.
In some random ass area.
Yeah.
And you've just taken one of the sheds and building helicopters.
Fucking attack helicopters.
So, what are you doing in Hangar 3? Don't know, it's empty.
Yeah.
Don't know, it's empty.
Couple of tanks, couple of jets. Fucking hell.
What Chris doesn't tell us is that in the fucking backyard he's putting together an ICBM.
Yeah, he has. He's got his own internet service going on there. Chris is the entrepreneur. He's renting out all the internet to everyone. Chris is the equivalent to BT Moldova.
I'm honestly not even surprised.
But honestly, I've seen some beautiful, beautiful architecture and scenery when you look away from the bad things. Apparently, Moldova's a beautiful country. I mean, Chris, you can't slag it off that much.
Yeah, I suppose so. Because, like, if you go to, like, let's say, there are things like Warhaviek, there are things like Soroka. They have, like, fortresses which are still kept to this day. They look amazing. Like, you visit them and you actually enjoy looking at those old things. Although they're, like, really, really old, they look broken as hell. It's still fun to go there and see, like, all of this
Your history and stuff like that.
Stored like this, so... There are actually some places which are amazing. Some, if actually said this, I think Moldova is a cyberpunk. Like, I'm not even kidding, because we have a mall.
Nothing wrong with that.
We have a mall which is futuristic as fuck. They got like Galaxy S20s, iPhones, like all of the PCs, everything bleeding edge. And nearby there's a fucking broken. How do you call this hotel? That's falling already.
Mate, that hotel's fucked.
Yeah,
It's not even broken, it's fucked.
Yeah, it's fucked. Like, it's even worse shape right now than it was before. Cause
I love the observatory. That beautiful observatory is fucked.
that one is just fucking. Yeah, it's horrible. Because it's actually getting worse by year. Because they were maintaining it until like 2014. So it still had like, everything was like cleaned. It was just spray painted. They had placed like advertisements on it. Yeah, they painted
Not
it.
fucking real paint, just spray.
Yeah, well, actually, the advertisements are now in graffiti,
They
apparently.
placed advertisements, so now they don't give a shit. It's rusty, it's broken, it's ready to just go shambles. So if this city is going to become the next Beirut, I'm not going to wonder. I'm
Shit.
straight.
I think the important thing to remember when discussing any country like this is you will always have the aesthetically beautiful parts of a country, and you will always have the shitholes of a country. I mean, people
Same
think,
anyway,
oh,
same in our country, stealth.
people think of Brazil, they think of Christ the Redeemer, they think of those beautiful Sao Paulo and Rio beaches. Oh shit, favelas exist.
Yeah, look at the favelas, mate.
The highest murder rates either in South America or in the world or in the Americas, I can't remember. But hey, Brazil #1. I love that meme. I fucking love that meme. But yeah, I mean, then you go elsewhere, you look at, say, Egypt, and I've been to Egypt, and I still insist that it's the most beautiful country I've ever been to. But yeah, there's still places where it's absolutely shit. In the UK, it's the exact same. Wherever you go,
Well, are you Manchester Stealth, or you're just outside Manchester?
I am northwest.
Right, okay, fair enough. No, that's cool. Well, I'm from a place, and I'm Salford scum. I'm from a place called Salford, and we had, I don't know, Chris, do you know what an ASBO is?
No idea.
It's called an antisocial behaviour order. So I mean it's a horrible thing, and it's mostly young people that get it, or families that are just fucked up. And I come from a place called Salford, and one point when I was living down there, Salford had more antisocial behaviour orders than the rest of the UK put together. So that I mean, you will say that stuff. You will sort of.
I genuinely remember finding out about that.
Salford had more than the whole of the UK, and Salford's only about 3 miles circle.
Yeah, Salford's fucking tiny.
It is. I mean, it's a city within a city, and I'm not disgraced from the place I'm from, but you weren't brought up in Salford; you were dragged up.
Yeah, and this is the same thing. I mean, Devlin, you said Manchester. It's not Manchester that I'm from, but I am.
Okay, that sort of area, right? Okay, northwest. We'll go with that.
If you're northwest, you're basically from Manchester or Liverpool.
Fuck off! You're not a Scouser.
I'm not a Scouser. I don't like.
Well, you know, Mancunians are Scouse.
Scouse accent. Sorry, I should say.
Oh, God. But actually, one of the nicest guys I know off the internet is a Scouser. Steve McQueen. I don't know if you know him, Stealth.
No, I can't say I do. But
he's a really nice guy. I think Chris knows him.
Yeah, I met him one time at some point, but I don't really remember a lot. So
you want to see him play Battlefield Hardline? He's fucking awesome in the sedans.
Oh yeah, his Twitter, yeah, that was amazing.
In his sedans, he's absolutely awesome. So
yeah, what I was going to say is I was very lucky to grow up in a very nice area.
Don't say Wilmslow.
No, I'm not going to say
because that's a beautiful area.
I was lucky to grow up in a very, very beautiful area. And it took me not a long time, but it took me a while to realize just how fucked the UK is in certain places, because you always know that there are good and bad areas, but then when you actually start looking into it, you find
there's some really bad areas.
You find out a place like Salford, and you're like, "Fucking hell, this is in my country."
No,
and this is the thing.
I know.
You pick any country in the world, you're going to have good bits and you're going to have bad bits. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. And comparing one country to another based on your good and your bad, I don't think that's a fair comparison. I think that's apples and oranges.
And again, I think you can find good and bad even in Salford. I mean, it's got one of the most world-famous technology colleges there. Salford Tech is one of the most renowned colleges of technology in the world.
Yeah, like when I was... I'm university educated now, but when I was actually doing my before me, you uneducated peasants.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, when I was looking for universities and shit, you look around and there are so many affluent colleges, universities
in the area.
Oxbridge,
yeah, exactly.
Is insanely high in our ranking tables in the UK. UCLan is very high up there. Bath is very high up there. And you have these amazing, even like academic institutions and that. And then you have the shitholes. I'm not going to say any names, but you have the
Eccles College.
You look around and you go, how do you guys even have a functioning university here when you're in such a shithole? But that's the thing, you know? You take the good with the bad. It's just the way life is.
No, exactly. So, guys, any more topics? I mean, I'm up for this. I'm really enjoying the open mic night tonight. I think it's been really good. Do you know what I mean? We've not been like pigeonholed to any particular subject. But I don't know. Is there anything else you boys want to talk about? I'm ready to stay on for a short while.
How about merch?
Merchandise, Chris. Merchandise. I seen something you put on there. Right. So, are you going merchandise, Chris? Are you going merchandise?
So just to say this, it's just like a design I tried myself. This is one-time purchase for myself to see how it will look on the thingy which I will create. So I'm still thinking of a redesign.
And please advertise where you're doing it. If you're going to go with these people, advertise it.
Right now I'm not sure. 'Cause,
Okay.
like I said, this is just like, I purchased this from a company which does like one order per customer.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to do some templates, like mess around with.
Because I
these,
will definitely buy one of them.
So I'm still finding people which will try to help me with this stuff, because I'm not sure how the merchandise will go for me. But I'm settling on like a design, all of this stuff, CT logos and all that stuff, being unleashed, Gaming Zone, all of this stuff. Because I really enjoyed yours, because your style was really
Mine's
cool. I like-
cartoony, though. Mine's quite cartoony.
cartoony, but I still enjoy it. So
Yeah.
I'd like to get one just to look at.
Just for memes.
So it's still in the process. Like, this is basically like my streams. Everything is from scratch. I'm planning out the idea how to do them, and there's also it's just the hoodie, because I haven't made any t-shirts. I haven't made any things which you put on head. I forgot their names. Fuck's sake. And what else? Some shirts. Maybe a cup for memes.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Definitely. When we're doing the podcast, though, definitely advertise shit like that, because that's what these things are here for. I mean, it's for everyone. Obviously, I'm hosting this tonight, but obviously, we're all contributing. So please, as soon as you find out, Chris, you advertise where this shit's going to be, because I'm sure a lot of your subscribers are going to buy it. I'll definitely buy it. I'll advertise it to mine. I'm sure Stealth will advertise it to his, and Slavic, and I'm sure that Ben will do it as well. So I'll definitely get one, and I'll advertise it for you, Chris. And I'm like I say, I'm only hosting this podcast. This is everyone's podcast. I'm only hosting it, so advertise it. So please, Chris, as soon as you find out, let us know where you're going to be selling your merch from.
So I'm telling you this straight. I think in about 3 months, I should come out with an exact time when everything is happening. So cheers everyone for supporting me during this journey. I'm still working on upgrading the streams, because I promised this to everyone. I'm doing this one. I'm doing the grind for the GPUs. I'm doing the grind for the giveaway, and also this thing related to merch. So I'm planning on doing like it's separated, because most of the audience has like mods. There's for Sandstorm, there's like being unleashed, beyond the limits. There's a lot of formats where you can just divide and have a lot more choices. Like Linus Tech Tips doing like videos. For example, he has like a shirt with a CPU on it. Then there is a GPU one. Then there is like, of course, the hard drive one, the SSD one. So you can just make.
You can diversify with what you're doing on the same sort of thing, but you diversify. Yeah.
So you can make them temporary. You can make them forever. All of this.
I think, Chris, sorry to butt in, you should do more of them tech videos, because I really enjoyed that one you did last time. You should do more of them. I know you were saying about your camera, but I honestly think you should do more of those, because I really enjoyed it. And I'm sure your subs liked it.
Some spoilers. Yes, a tech upload is coming. Like, I'm working right now. It's taking some time, because I need to get my GPU sorted and get like a new motherboard. That's probably the only things that I'll have to upgrade. And if I'll ever do a build, for example, if I'm going to do a slight upgrade, for
Film
example, the ramps and stuff, I guess I'm going to record them, but I'm still thinking how to do them. Maybe a review, because I also have a review planned for something I purchased recently. So that is related to tech.
And you could do that all on that second channel, Chris. You could turn that into that sort of thing.
Yes, because I personally consider myself a tech enthusiast because I speak a lot about it. I'm always up to date with it, and I'm purchasing new tech. So that's how it goes for me.
So what about you, Stealth? Are you going to bring up merchandise at the moment? Do you know what I mean?
Active plans for my 7 subscribers to buy my merchandise.
Hey,
However,
you know the score, mate. It's the grind. You've got to do the grind.
yeah. I was actually having a discussion today with someone who
Don't fucking give up. Don't let them tell you to give up. You have to keep going, Stealth.
I was actually going to say it was the other way around. I was discussing with someone who, at this point in my life, they're in academic education. If you ever see this, you know who you are, my friend. They were having a lot of trouble. They were basically saying, look, I'm not making ends meet. I'm paying taxes. I'm working like 12-hour days. It's all going to shit. I just said to them, just step back, keep at it, small steps. And I basically just explained to them the basics of just how to get through that period of being in education and being in the shithole, basically. But on a more positive note, moving forward, I do intend to keep releasing more stuff. I do intend to keep doing more stuff. My current slump in activity has simply been down to 1, being busy, and 2, lacking a couple of things. Got 1 or 2 ideas on the card that I want to do. But one date that is very firmly on my radar is the 30th of this month. Release date for the early access of Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, shit.
I'm a massive D&D player.
Not my cup of tea, but I'm sure it's big.
I'm a massive fan of Larian after their entry with Divinity 2 Original Sin. Hands down, best modern RPG I've ever played. Beautiful game. I actually restarted playing it with my best mate tonight, actually.
Why do I not like them games? I don't understand. I just can't.
I don't get you, Devlin.
I know. I don't get myself because I just don't get them. I understand it massively popular. I honestly don't get it. Maybe that's it. I just don't get it.
That's fair. But 30th is the release date for their early access on Steam.
Stealth, is it going to be a video?
I'm not only aiming to do videos based upon Baldur's Gate and D&D in general, because it's a big passion of mine. Been playing D&D for the past 5-ish years. But I'm actually going to break my silence to my 2 gaming compatriots, my 2 wingmen, if you will, who have been playing with me for years and do not know that I've been recording and do not know that I've been doing YouTube, and I'm going to invite them to come on and start.
Bloody hell, that's one of the first things you should have done, Stealth.
I've just kept it quiet. I've just kept it to myself. I've just been playing around with it. I've decided I am going to go serious with this YouTube thing. And I am also, as I said, going to attempt to start streaming probably on the 3rd or the 4th of next month when we have Baldur's Gate, when we've started trying it. I'm going to try and get some early.
And you'll advertise this beforehand?
Yeah, I'll be pinging up messages about it, but this is essentially the first word on it.
So you've got plans of what you're going to do?
Yeah, I've been in a bit of a slump because I'm someone who likes to stick to my principles, and I couldn't in good faith continue with the Armory series on Insurgency. And I also...
Stealth, have you seen the chat? Mass Raider and Harlem King saying, continue doing the stuff. These boys love that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I couldn't in good faith continue at the time, because that was the time where they were fucking us about with regards to the console release, and that
I know.
didn't feel good, shoveling more attention onto it. So I wanted to take a break from that, basically, and I've sat back and I've just been doing other things for a couple of weeks.
And Chris Mass Raider, I do apologise, Stealth, for butting in then. Mass Raider said, Chris, will you release a new format or will you keep this style forever?
Let's Stealth finish his.
Okay,
first.
cool.
This is quite a lengthy one.
Sure.
So,
So that's why I stopped the Sandstorm content for the moment. But I think I will go back to the Armory, because the Armory is actually a concept that I had way back in like 2012, 2008. when I first started trying YouTube under a completely different channel, which is now dead and buried. I purged it. But yeah, I think I'll probably end up going back to that. I was already partway through another episode of that, but as I said, that was temporarily shelved. But looking towards the future, I think I'm going to move towards doing quite a bit of Baldur's Gate content once it drops on the 30th, and then subsequent weekends I easily see myself streaming with friends. Another sort of thing which has come up is Fat Shark, the developers of Vermintide 1 and 2, have announced that they're doing a new game set in Warhammer 40k universe. So you can probably expect to see some of that from me in the future. You may well see some Vermintide 2 content when I'm just screwing around with my mates, given that's sort of life now. But I have got plans for the future. I do intend on doing more stuff. Might be silent for another couple of weeks until I really sort of get my stuff together. But yeah, not dead.
But it's nice to know that you've got the recognition. At least you've got a couple of boys on here that watch your video. I obviously watch them. Chris watches them. But you've got Mass Raider there. Harlem King said your videos are cool. Keep continuing doing that. So there's obviously a market out there for doing that. But I think your Baldur's Gate, because not a lot of, well, at least a lot of bigger YouTubers cover that anymore. You might have that sort of genre if you can get on it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Baldur's Gate and RPGs are a big thing in general, but what makes Baldur's Gate even more attractive to me is it's a direct gateway into the realm of Dungeons and Dragons, which is massively, massively open to talk about anything within that setting, not just the actual Baldur's Gate 3 game. And as I said, I've been into D&D for years and years, and then as I started playing it about 4, 5, maybe 6. I think 5th edition came out in like 2014 or some shit. But yeah, Mast, this is actually me moderating my speed of talking.
Actually, that's a good point. If for no disrespect to Harlem or Mass, for foreign people, they might want it a bit slower.
This is me moderating my voice. My actual natural speech speed is even faster than this. And for videos, I dial it back even further because I have to script everything. I force myself to slow down when I know what I want to say. I can do it a lot more naturally, but freeform, I do speed up a lot. But yeah, Baldur's Gate opens up the door to D&D, and honestly, I could probably make hours and hours worth of D&D content.
Cool. So you found your genre, maybes.
I intend to keep doing FPSs, Sandstorm, whatever the future holds in that, but I can definitely see D&D having a place.
Cool. So Chris, sorry, Chris, he handed you over.
All right. So what the question was, I think it was something related to format, right?
Yes.
Matt is asking you, will you keep your current style format, or are you going towards any newer styles?
So I have to explain first what the hell actually are formats, because this was like a concept made by me back in the days. So basically what happened is I started this Garbage Zone. Harm King, I know I said, you said it, like Gaming Zone Legacy. I'm still calling it Garbage Zone, so don't forget about this. Garbage Zone started basically with random uploads, like, Battlefield 2 gameplays, throw shit there. And I wanted to do like order in everything. So I have like a consequence, what I'm doing. So this is basically quality upgrade. Every single time a new format comes out, it's quality upgrade. Redux was my first one, which I attempted to do like a Battlefield 4 style format on the channel. It flopped really bad. Then came 2.0, which refreshed like a lot of animations, introduced scripts to my channel, so it wasn't so weird to actually hear my voice. Then it's 3.0, that was because the channel was in a quite dark period. Then it was, of course, Gaming Zone Eternal. That thingy was basically after I got myself a new microphone, I started pushing more towards the quality of the content rather than quantity. And then is Gaming Zone Progressive. This one right now will be, I think, for one more year, because I have some ideas on how to develop the channel. I got myself a huge Trello list of changes for it. So most of them will actually, if I actually get to working on them, I think will change the format. So just saying this, for now, it's still Gaming Zone Progressive for 1 more year. So expect like merch for Gaming Zone Progressive. Like, yeah, this thing is here to stay because I'm really enjoying it. Although I'm going to remake like a lot of things like the podcast, I'm going to remake the streaming and some of the introductions for the channels like intros, outros, and those will be a bit changed because I got tired of using Sony Vegas to render those. And I have like 100 layers just to get some effects.
Shit.
So I am porting over a lot of stuff. So you should expect some refreshes maybe in 2021. Who knows? So yeah.
And do you know what, Chris? I think since me and you actually met, and obviously I met Mass Raider and Harlem King afterwards, we've changed an awful lot. I think when I met you, I'm not sure how many subs you had, but you've progressed and I've progressed so much in the few years that we have. Yeah, exactly. But I think I'm not sure what the people think out there, but I think doing these podcasts have been actually really good for all of us because I think people are taking notice, and even though they might not comment like Mass do and Harlem do, but I think these are a good thing because we're putting ourselves out where we're just talking as normal, nothing is scripted, and I'll let you into a spoiler. 9 times out of 10 we have no idea what we're going to talk about till about an hour before we're going to talk about it. So I think we do actually all right for the podcast of what we put on. So tonight we really didn't know, and I just put on, guys, do you fancy an open mic night tonight? And I think it's actually gone really well tonight. Because I think we've opened up. We've just talked as we are. And like I say, Stealth, you went off to talk about your friend. Chris loves talking about tech. And I'm just sat here as a dumb boomer talking about whatever and just sort of hosting the thing. But I've been really enjoying it tonight. Any more topics, guys?
Yeah, we got some interesting discussions down there. So there's Chris sounds the same, like his videos, everyone else is different. Yeah.
Because I've got to admit I have a YouTube voice. It's just one of those things when you say, I mean, it's completely different when I know I'm talking to Stealth and I'm talking to Chris. I'm actually thinking I'm talking to Mass Raider and Harlem King. It's completely different when you sat here on your own and you're like, right, okay, I'm sat here on my own like a dick. I'm talking to myself. I think that sort of YouTube persona comes out. I don't know. Like Stealth, they think you talk a lot faster. Chris apparently sounds the same, so it doesn't appeal to him, or it doesn't go to him. But apparently you talk too fast, and I definitely know. I put on this YouTube voice and I say things that I probably would never say when I'm talking as normal, like we are tonight. So I don't know. What do you think, Stealth? Do you have a different voice, or apparently us two sound different and Chris doesn't?
Oh, I can definitely say that I sound different right now because I'm using a different mic. I'm using my headset mic opposed to my actual mic, so I was too lazy to turn it on.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. I literally showed up about 2 minutes, 3 minutes before we were due to get it starting because with my family, it overran, and I was like, well, shit, just jump in, see what happens. But the YouTube persona is a massive thing. It is definitely something that does exist. And I know when I'm there by myself, as I say, I script everything. I try and slow myself down as much as possible. I also try and imagine myself speaking to someone. So when I'm actually recording my videos, I'm doing full on like hand gestures, as if I was talking to someone who's sitting across from me, essentially.
And people can't see that. I understand what you're saying because I do that. When I'm getting on one, when I'm doing a video, I'm like, fucking good. I'm like that.
I have 2 desks, 2 workstations set up, basically, and what I essentially do is I set up and I imagine myself speaking to someone at the other workstation, and I just start talking to myself, essentially. But another thing that just ties to these podcasts as well, I feel is very important regarding this whole the person versus the YouTube persona. This is something that I have always been for, which is breaking the barrier. I don't like the idea of the fourth wall, the glass screen, that division between me as a content creator and you as a content consumer. I want to connect with you. That's why I like these podcasts, because we're looking at the Discord chat, we're looking at the stream chat. I want to interact with you. I don't want there to be this glass.
So you two should get on the fucking thing. You two should get a face reveal going on, because people are looking at me. I'm looking at that monitor. I'm looking at Discord. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at that. You two don't even say you haven't got a webcam. Everyone. And it'll cost you about £10 to get one. And Chris, you know I've seen what you look like. You should get on and do this, because it'd be brilliant if we could have all these screens up with the boys, wear a mask, wear a balaclava, but it makes a difference, because it's like I know, Chris in a balaclava, Moldovan special.
I actually have something here.
Because even there's comments in the chat that says, and maybe it's a good thing, and it probably is a good thing, that they've seen the difference in your English, Chris.
Oh,
your English has got a lot better.
Like, for me personally, it's just, getting polished. Cause
he says, fuck you, by the way. That's Scottish.
Fuck you, by the way.
That's Scottish.
This is just like learning, but at the same time is more of a polishing, because I try to get rid of my Russian accent, because that was really
it's not happening, Chris.
Yeah, it was pretty annoying, because you wanted to speak like proper English, and you start, hello, today I'm going to play.
That's just love scheme. Hello, comrade.
Because I can just start I can't even start speaking in Russian styled stuff, because it's really hard for me to actually try. I have to take some time, come up how the hell to pronounce that in Russian. So I used to say, hello everyone, Chris back again on. Today I'm going to play a Black Mesa. And then when I remember this kind of stuff, I was like, oh, fuck's sake. Still, this is an evolution.
I'm not actually sure what Harem King means. He said Devlin in general had universe reset quality change. Laughing my arse off. I'm not sure.
I think it's your early uploads, because...
Oh, they were fucked up.
Yeah, when I looked at your early uploads...
They were so bad.
I watched the VC Wins one, and because I like military history and such, but listening to you there and listening to you here, it's like you're on some fucking...
Because of a Chinese mic. No, literally. But you know what? I will never take them down, because I want people, say for argument's sake, I got 50,000 subs. I want them to see how bad I was at the beginning, because then anyone who wants to start a channel will see how shit I was. Do you know what I mean? You have to see a progression, and it's good for me. I look at that and I think, Devlin, you're shit now. Look how shit you were back then. And now I think, look how far you progressed. Now you're doing podcasts with a few of the guys, and you just started the internet, and you just started YouTube. And I bought a Chinese fucking mic. I thought it was the bollocks. It looked great, and it was absolutely shit.
Yeah.
So I'm not even embarrassed about that. I'm not even embarrassed. They were shit, and I will say they were totally shit. But I'm quite proud of myself because I've come along, I've progressed. I've got a lot more confident with doing YouTube, and it's a different thing because I used to work for a radio station. I used to actually work playing records and talking to people, blah, 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 blah. I've done that. I've done television. I've owned my own businesses. But you know what? YouTube has been the hardest thing to crack.
I'm not surprised by that at all. As you say, though, you need to know where you come from to see where you're going.
Woohoo! Looking good, Devlin. I'll take that. Cheers, man. Channel's going all right the last 6 months or so. Cheers for coming along anyway.
Might as well.
And I like the fact everyone calls me Devlin now. If you don't know me, it's Mr. Devlin. If you know me, it's Devlin.
Might as well just reveal some details.
The history is very important to me. As I said, as is interacting with people. I don't like the idea of the content creator sort of, as I said, sat in their little box, then you have the glass screen between them. I very much want to put myself across as a human person, someone to interact with, someone that will interact back, because I feel that's just the type of person I am. I mean, I don't see the point in shutting yourself off or ignoring the past or anything like that. I feel build. That's what I feel, and the best way to do that is get it out there, interact with people. That's what.
No, exactly. No, you're right. And I'm sure, Stealth, you'll be hosting me and Chris at a later date.
You might make.
Like, Chris, what did you want to say, mate?
Oh, details. So, like from the inception of Gaming Zone, I had running around like shit called Echo Alpha and Square Nation. That's some really OG terms.
Cheers, Harlem.
Which you'll find like the later stuff. Well, harder beginnings, and I just stayed like these coverages. So basically, Echo Alpha was my microphone, which was a webcam sitting like.
Well, that was a mic as well.
That was a mic. So
shit.
It was like a C720. Don't fucking remember. Something.
Logitech.
Yeah, it was like 10 feet away from me. So it was like, yeah, you can record me. If I ever dared to press the keyboard a bit too hard, it would just ear rape everything.
Shit.
And Square Nation is the monitor I used to record. It was like in 1680 by 1050, so it wasn't like 1080p. It was basically a square thing. That's why I called it Square Nation.
This very much sounds like the era of roses are red, violets are blue, unregistered Hypercam 2.
Yeah, man, I used to record with Fraps.
So I actually think we should finish off. I'm going to go with Stealth on this first. Right, okay, so your YouTube setup, what is it? What's your hardware? What do you use to record and put out your videos? Stealth.
I have a solid oak wood desk, varnished.
Fuck the desk. What's your hardware about?
The best you can get. I have a simple Razer headset. That's what I'm using right now.
Nothing wrong with that.
Gaming. I've got a HyperX Quadcast. That is what I actually record my audio on for these videos. I use this for chatting, and this is what I'll probably use when I am streaming, because due to my current setup, the PC is actually up on the desk with me. I cannot move it because I have no.
Oh shit! At the top, above. Is it above? Shit! I always have mine below.
I can't put it below. I physically don't have the space.
Oh shit! Right.
Running a game high end, that thing is blazing away. It's not overheating. It's performing perfectly well, but the sound it pumps out is to an extent where I cannot use the HyperX Quadcast comfortably with it. So I'd have to use this if I'm actively putting. Also, shout out Helen North, Ben, whatever the fuck you prefer to be called. So yeah, I can't actually use that. So
sorry, Stealth, can I put in? Ben, Null Cinematics, cheers for watching, mate.
Yep. So yeah, if I was streaming, I'd be using this, but my setup, I'll record just using inbuilt shit on the 1080 Ti. So I just open up, what's it called? GeForce Experience, that's it. GeForce Experience, hit record, configured it to record at 1080p, 60 FPS, job done basically. I'll jump into whatever game I want to get shit done as raw footage, go straight on my D drive. Then the second thing I do is I'll put together my script, Microsoft Word, write it all out. And I don't even have it in a pure script style. I will break it based on natural flow within how much I can say in a breath and things like that. So it'll be massively disjointed, and I'll record that out in Audacity, do a bit of post-processing on it, stitch it back together, and then everything goes into DaVinci Resolve, whack together a video, render, upload.
Cool.
So, I mean, there's a lot of flaws with my setup, but it's a case of JFDI.
And do you know what? For the first setup, there's fuck all wrong with that.
Yep.
So, Chris, what's your setup for your YouTube videos? And just before we finish off, what's your complete setup? What do you do your videos in?
So the mic I'm using right now is Blue Yeti. I used to have a Quadcast, but like some of the folks which I did some voiceover said, it's the HyperX lacked in quality, so I returned back to my
No, it doesn't.
Then I have some like wireless HyperX, so I can just move around in my house and open a window, like do some stuff and go for a food break and stuff. I have myself 1440p monitor, so I started pushing out quality more. Like I wanted to have 2K 1440p content on YouTube because stagnating at 1080p right now is just boring. I also myself got a secondary monitor, so meanwhile I have like a script. I also have like the game, maybe something recording. I also have Discord opened. When using Premiere Pro, I'm also using like the main tab, and everything else related to like footage, effects, everything is just thrown to the secondary monitor. So if I ever need something, I just drag and pull it into the project. That's it. And you've already seen my projects, how I do those crazy animations and stuff.
Yeah,
so
it's
you already know.
Yeah,
madness.
It's insanity. So
It's actually depressing for someone who doesn't take that much time.
yeah, because now that I started working as an editor, I started pushing myself more and more.
You know, I accept and realize the processes more than probably a dick like me.
Yeah, no offense, mate. Like,
What do you mean, yeah?
those are, like, simple projects.
Yeah.
I can do those in like about 5 minutes.
Fuck you. By the way.
And the main rig, which renders everything. I upgraded myself the processor to like a Ryzen 9 so I can have more content rendered on time. Because I have a fuck ton of videos which need to be rendered. And when you don't have a powerful processor, you have to wait about 10 ages, who knows? It's a lot of things that you have to wait. So yeah, that's my setup of doing shit. And also record on NVIDIA Shadowplay, the thingy which comes with NVIDIA cards. That's it.
Shit. So, I mean, obviously it's come to me. I upgraded to the mic you're seeing at the moment, which is a SM7B. It's a Shure mic. I've got another, I think, a Shure mic there, but I use Premiere Pro to edit the videos, not in the way Chris does it. I do it quite simple, to be honest. Maybe it's because I'm lazy. I've just moved into a new room that I've made into a studio. I've got AirPods in at the moment, but I usually use Sennheisers. I'm not sure if I'm getting them in there, or the Sony ones I use towards the end there. And I actually use OBS to record my videos now. The reason I do that is because the file size is a lot smaller. I can then render them to whatever format that I want them to, 4K or 1080p YouTube or whatever I want. But I think having said that, I was talking to the boys how echoey it is in the room. The thing I'm most happy with is my mic at the moment. But you know what? I will stand by this. I used to always script my videos, and now I don't script them. I think of something I want to talk about, and then I'll just talk. I'm sure I'll get Chris here one day. Yeah, apparently he's going to come to the wedding next year, and I hope he does. Him and his mum. Chris, you got to bring your mum, and he'll he'll see exactly how I do my videos. I'll sit here. Sometimes I get myself totally pissed off, and I'll just do a video and I'll just start talking. I'll click, I'll stop, I'll click, I'll stop, and then I'll edit everything together. And sometimes it's flawless, sometimes it's not. Sometimes I sound like a dick, sometimes I don't. But and I'll stick with Ryzen all day long, Ryzen processors. But all I can say is actually I've really enjoyed this stream tonight. Us doing an open mic. I think we should do more of these, just open mic. And we'll talk about what we want to talk about. But at this moment in time, I think we're going to stop the stream. I think I'll go to Stealth first to say good night. But I personally have enjoyed the stream tonight. Stealth, say your good nights, mate.
Yeah, just before I do, actually, two things to address. Harem, the reason why we're afraid of Chris's editing is because it's like 40 fucking minutes.
Yeah, man.
Video.
It is. It is. It is. He's a fucking beast.
Thank you for the compliment as well, Mast, about having a down-to-earth setup. The desk that I have is the desk that I game at, the desk that I produce YouTube at, the desk that I physically work at. I'm at this desk probably, 16 to 20 hours a day. It is multifunctional. It's just everything I need it to be is all just on one.
So you use yours as a work station as well, yeah?
Absolutely everything. Yeah, I'm not shitting you. It's like 30 odd layers of stuff that he has there. I'm getting. I've just seen your new message, but yep, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to chat with everybody, being able to interact with everyone, just straight up open mic night. It's been beautiful. COVID-19 is still a thing. Stay inside, guys. Stay safe.
Stay home.
Good night.
And over to you, Chris.
Cheers, everyone, for the talks tonight. It was really interesting to talk about tech, my fucking scrapyard, which does wonderful things like cyberpunks, helicopters, tanks, all of that stuff. And for
Moldova.
actually having a chat tonight, because I really enjoyed this one. The open mic feels refreshing than just sticking to a topic and just say like, oh, this is this, this is this, this is this. It's always great to have something new, because if you talk the same thing every single time, it just gets boring. So an open mic is a very welcome idea. Cheers, everyone, for joining. See you next time.
And I'm just going to close off. I want to thank Mass Raider and Harem King. They've been here all night. I really appreciate that. And they're Chris from CT Gaming Zone's subscribers. Apparently they subscribe to me as well and Stealth, but if anyone else is here, subscribe to Chris at CT Gaming Zone and Stealth Slicer 77. I appreciate everyone coming tonight, and this has been a really good experience. I think we should maybe stick to the open mic sort of format, because we sort of drifted in and out of conversations. Do you know what? Just thank you and good night. Gentlemen, say good night.
Have a good one.
Good night, guys.